You're listening to Living in Spain podcasts with David Wright.
Hi guys, my name's David Wright and welcome to another one of my podcast show. So today I'm going to be talking about finding the right place in Spain. What is the right place, the right area for you? Is it near the beach? Is it inland or is it in a big city? What exactly is the best way to choose the place that's going to be right for you? Okay, so first off, when I first moved to Spain, I thought I wanted to be right near the beach. I love the beaches. I was from Brighton, so I like the beach, apart from the cold weather. And so the beaches here in Spain, in this part of Spain where I moved to, were fantastic. And I wanted to be near the beach. So I decided that when I first came here, that's where I stayed the first few months. I rented an apartment. And I did love it here. I loved the area and I liked going to the beach. It was great. But then I started to look around. We drove around inland a little bit and found some lovely plots of land, some older buildings with a bit of ground, a bit of space. And that really started to appeal to me. So I thought about looking for a second-hand property, inland a little bit, away from it all, but still within driving distance to the beach. And that's how I started looking for my first property here. So we went inland and I did happen to find one place after looking for some time with an agent. And it had quite a bit of land. It had some orange and lemon trees and a few other trees on there. And it was about 700 square metres of land the house was on. And there was a few acres of ground, countryside ground, surrounding the house. It was all included. But the only problem was it was up quite a big track from the main road. It took about 5 or 6 minutes to drive up this track to get to the property. And then when you were there, it was pretty isolated. Fantastic views down over the valleys and the hills of that part of Spain, and it really looked quite ideal, and the price was right as well. It was about 75,000 euros at the time, which was dirt cheap. So we really considered this place, and after talking to the agent and some other people, we were thinking about it, and we went back there one day on our own. On a day it happened to be raining hard and windy, and it wasn't very nice weather at all. But we drove up this track, and we saw that it was almost flooded out, this track, even though it wasn't raining that hard. The track was dirty and muddy and a bit slippery to get up, and we thought this could be a bit dicey in the winter months. The other thing, when we got up to where we were, there was a terrific amount of wind there. And because the place was out in an exposed area, all the trees were moving and there's quite a lot of wind. So we thought this doesn't look so nice, and it's such a difference in the different weather. So really a few things put us off of that. And also we started thinking about the neighbours. The nearest neighbours were quite a way away, and they were very old Spanish people. And we thought that this is great now, it might be okay to start with, but our Spanish wasn't very good at the time. And how are we going to cope when we're older? What if one of us is ill or one of us can't drive? How are we going to get back down into town, get a daily shopping and groceries, or if we have any problems when we need any help to come up to us? So really, that's really what put us off about buying the property, even though the price was great and it was a really nice property that we could have done up and had money left over in the bank to enjoy the rest of our life there. But at the time as well, I was working and my work was quite a way away from where the property was. So this is what put us off really buying that place. So then we went back to our original idea of being near the beach, near a small town, in town where most of the clients were going to be. So really that was a great idea at the time. It wasn't ideal for us to live there for the first year or so because we were right in the thick of it. And in the summer months, there was a lot of trouble with parking and things like that. But for me, for my work, it was ideal. It was close to all the shops, the builders and merchants that I needed to be with my carpentry business. And it was all close to clients. So, we did save a lot of money on travelling around for petrol and stuff like that. So it was convenient. But then later on, after a few years, we did move outside of town a little bit further away, bought a little bit bigger property, and again, it was in an area that was not so populated as near the beach area, but it wasn't in the middle of the countryside either. So it sort of worked out well. And then later on in life, where I am now, I've moved away even further again, further down the coast of Almeria. And I'm now away from most of the big towns and cities, but still within driving distance, about 20 minutes drive from it, and only about 5 minutes drive from some fantastic beaches. So I think I finally found the perfect place for me. But the thing is, if I'm looking back on it now and I think about if I'd bought that property out in the hills, what would it have been like? With my experiences and everything living here now, knowing what I know now, it would be fine, okay. But for the first few years here, with my Spanish not being very good at all, or next to nothing, and clients being far away, business being more important, it would have been a disaster if we had bought that property. We wouldn't have been able to enjoy the life that we thought, and it would have been some stress and some hardships moving there, even though it was a really nice property. And sometimes when I drive in that area, I drive past and see it and often think what it would be like. But deep down inside, I know it would have been a mistake if we bought that. The same as it would have been a mistake if we'd ended up buying a house right in the centre of town. So, we wouldn't have known that either. Originally, I came here and I wanted to buy outright, as I've said before in some of my podcasts, and I was advised to rent first, and this is what I did. I rented for 6 months, which turned out to be 10 in the end. We extended it, and originally it was in a place that I really liked, quite near the beach, and the apartment was fantastic, and I wanted to buy outright. But as I've said before in other podcasts, I was advised by my bank manager not to buy it outright, to get a mortgage, and that's what I did. But if I hadn't have rented in the place the first time when I came here, I would have not known about the problems that first property had, and I would have been committed in buying, and it would have been very difficult to move on from there. So, guys, I always say when you first come to Spain, it's a great idea to rent somewhere first to get the idea of the place, what it's like, not just in the summer months, but the winter as well. Many places in Spain can change a lot in the winter months, so it's worth coming here. If you find a place that you like, at least visit a few times in the winter months to see what it's like there in the winter. So what you might think is perfect for you now, it might not be something you want later on in life or once you've been here a while. So this, again, is a good idea to rent first to get the hang of it. But I know some people that have bought inland first off, they've moved straight here and bought inland, they've bought a rural place, and it's worked out fine for them. But you've got to remember, here in Spain, you can be pretty isolated. You will need transport, and it can be difficult in the winter months. Some places get cut off and the weather is quite different. I have some friends that live near where I'm living now, only about 15 minutes away, but they're inland, up a bit of a mountainside. Not really a mountain, just a big hill. But the weather up there sometimes on the same day is completely different from what I'm getting down on the coast. They can have about 10 degrees temperature change up there, and they get stronger winds, and it can be overcast and cloudy, even some misty fog. So, guys, you've got to think about these things as well. Down on the coast, we get the winds as well, but we do get a warmer, drier climate being down nearer the beach. Again, it all depends on what part of Spain you're going to, but you've got to really think about these things and think about if you're real at one time, or when you get older, are you still going to be able to get out and about like you were when you were younger? And really consider these things that's going to make it a make or break decision when you first buy here in Spain. So although you're keen, don't jump straight into buying straight off. If you find the area and you think, yeah, it's great, there's loads of properties to rent, whether it's near the beach, in town, or out in the countryside. And especially out in the countryside, there's some very cheap rents now. So why not come here for a few months, rent a place, see what it's like first, get a real idea of what it's like in the winter months, being away from all the services inland. Or if you're down on the beach, might not be used to the noise and the traffic and some of the clubs and bars that are open to early hours in the summer months. So rent first and try it out. So guys, these are some of my personal tips here, and I hope they've given you some inspiration and ideas for when you first move here to Spain. If any of this has helped at all, please leave a like or comment in the description box below. Thanks a lot.
If you have enjoyed this podcast by David Wright, then you will love his new books. Out now on Amazon and Kindle, packed with money-saving tips and information on living and working in Spain. Just go to livinginspainbooks.com. David also has a popular blog for expats in Spain. Come and take a look now at britishexpatsinspain.com.